already the end of the year and I'm already starting to talk about my favorite reads of the year. Hi guys, this is Jean from Happy Indulgence and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to go through my top 10 favorite reads of 2017. It has been an awesome reading year and I'm super excited to talk about all my favorites. And yeah, it took me ages to decide what was part of my favorites list, especially since I loved so many books this year. So my 10th favorite book is Always and Forever, Lara Jean by Jenny Han. I thought this was the cutest contemporary read. It gave me so many feels and it really brought me back to the end of high school when you just don't want to let go and you know that your life is going to change and all the people that are surrounding you, you don't know if you'll ever see again. And certainly that's the emotions that Lara Jean went through, especially with her relationship as well. She didn't know whether it was going to last through to college, and I thought it was just such a wonderful book capturing all those emotions of finishing school. Even though this is the third book in the series, it was probably my favorite and I just love the conclusion of it as well. My ninth favorite book is This Mortal Coil by Emily Suvada, and this was actually an unexpected surprise because I hadn't heard much about it in the blogosphere and especially not on BookTube, and I just found this book so full of twists and turns. It was a book about DNA manipulation in this futuristic world where people use technology integrated with their bodies to defeat a virus from entering their bodies, and I thought it was just a really interesting scientific concept. I picked up a lot of the technology in here. The biggest thing about this book is that it all feels so plausible and it's just a hell of a ride. So many twists and turns in here and the science totally didn't go over my head, and it reminded me of Resident Evil. Like, if you love zombies, if you love technology, if you love science, I think this book will definitely blow your mind. My 8th favorite book is The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon, and I actually read this at the start of the year. This is the 3rd book in the Bone Season series and it's a lot shorter than the rest of the books, but I also loved it the most because I felt like Paige herself, she had really risen to a leadership position and she was totally badass. But her major folly, she finds it hard to delegate to other people, even as a badass leader. And it really brings together the 1st and the 2nd books. If you guys don't know what the Bone Season is about, it's about 7 orders of clairvoyance, and Paige Marnie is one of the highest orders. She's a dream walker and she can actually walk through people's bodies, and she can see through their eyes and their ears and actually control them. And there's also these beings called Rephaims, I don't know how it's pronounced, but they're aliens. Yeah, there's so much political intrigue in here. So yeah, I just found it was so thrilling and I absolutely love The Song Rising. My 7th favorite book is When Dimple Met Rishi by Sandhya Menon. This is a book that I absolutely love just because of the 2 characters that were in here. You've got Dimple and she's always pressured by her parents to get a husband and get a boyfriend, but all she really wants to do is succeed in her career. She's studying at the moment, trying to figure out what she wants to do. She's really interested in science and technology. She's basically really focused on that. And then you've got Rishi. He's so cute. He really honors his Indian upbringing and he wants to share it through other people. He reminds me of a Hufflepuff. He will always stick up for his friends and what he believes in, so he's a bit unexpected as well. And the 2 of them, they go to a tech conference. That's basically how they meet, even though their parents have arranged them to get married. So I think it's a super cute read with a lot of wonderful diversity. It felt really true to my heart, especially since my parents are immigrants to Australia. So yeah, I love this book. The next book I loved is Down Among the Sticks and Bones by Shannon McGuire, and this is the companion novel to the 1st book, which is Every Heart a Doorway. It can be read as a standalone as well. So it follows these 2 twins and they're called Jack and Jill, but both of them are born as females, and then one of them obviously goes through a gender transition, and it really goes through nature and nurture, how your parents' upbringing can really affect the person you are, but then knowing that it can cause a lot of conflicting emotions with who you actually are. These 2 twins, they sort of find themselves in another world. they're taken under like different masters' wings. It's interesting just seeing what becomes of them and how they've changed so much and how they compete with one another, and I thought they were super fascinating characters. And it's a short read as well, but man, it packs a punch. My 5th favorite book is A Crown of Wishes by Roshani Chokshi. Gosh, you can see all the sticky notes I put in here because that's how much I love this book. I also read it at the start of the year, and it is a companion novel to the first book, which is The Star Touch Queen, and I love that one as well, but I thought this one was absolutely fantastic. Mainly because it's about this ruthless princess. Her name is Gowrie, and she is a prisoner of war. She's been captured and she meets this prince from a neighboring land, but he's kind of like a false prince. Like, he's just put there to look pretty, but obviously the kingdom doesn't really want him to maintain control. The thing I loved about this book is the hate to love. They have so much fiery banter, they have so much chemistry, and both of them are super interesting and have super interesting backstories. And I loved how it linked to the first book, even though you don't have to read that one first. Basically, they have to compete in A Crown of Wishes. There's a lot of like Indian mythology and folklore, and it goes through the trials that they have to beat. There's all these monsters that they have to fight, and they just learn how to work together, and I just love them, and I actually feel like reading this again. My 4th favorite book of the year is Scythe by Neil Shusterman, and I don't know why this isn't hyped up because gosh, I love it so much. Basically, it's set in this futuristic dystopian world where technology has advanced so far so people can't actually die. The only way that they can maintain population control is by employing these scythes. Scythes basically operate above the law. The whole world and the government and everything is controlled by this super AI being who is somehow always just and right, except for scythes. And scythes can select whatever method they want to kill people when their time is up. So then you've got all these different scythes with different philosophies. There's a guy and a girl who get taken in to become apprentices of this scythe, and then they somehow end up competing with one another. And it was just really interesting seeing this world that had been built that could possibly be plausible later on, but it just blew my mind by how like all these questions were answered about the population control and seeing like the different shades of morality. There's like all these twists and turns, and I just loved it so much. And I'm super excited because Scythe is actually being released by Walker Books Australia in Australia next year, and I think everyone should read it. And Thunderhead is actually coming out soon, so I can't wait. So now down to my top 3 favorite books, and I can't wait to go through them. My 3rd favorite book of the year is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I adored Star because of how she really stood up for what she believed in and how she had like 2 different identities. The first one is how she's like when she's with her family and with her friends in her community, and then the second identity she has is when she goes to a private school outside of the community and she feels like she has to hide herself. It's all about Black Lives Matter and how one of her friends gets unjustly murdered by cops, and then it's about how she decides to stand up for the community and decides to campaign for him. They just felt like such a tight community, and it was interesting seeing how she battled with her 2 identities, but how she also discovered what she believed in and how she stood up so strongly for that. So I absolutely love The Hate You Give, and it's becoming a movie soon. There is a casting, so I'm so excited about that. My 2nd favorite book of the year is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. It's just super hard to describe because it's just such a beautifully written, like fantastical book about this mysterious world of the Weep. It's about an alchemist, and he's basically super intelligent, and he has like this sort of Draco Malfoy type feel about him. And it's also about a librarian called Laszlo, and both of them are selected to visit the mysterious world of the Weep. And then Weep is like this Atlantis like that has a lot of history and everything, and they bring Laszlo along because he studied Weep for most of his life, and they bring Nero, which is the alchemist, along as well. In Weep there's also this mysterious blue-skinned goddess of death, and she's so badass, but the thing that Sarai has has about her is that she has empathy, and imagine being the goddess of death with empathy. It's really, really interesting, and I just found like the conflicts between the characters in here to be so fascinating, and I love the mysterious world, I love the writing. Yeah, I just cannot fault Stranger Dreamer. It's definitely one of my favorites of the year. Now for my first favorite book of the year, and that's God's Grave by J. Christoph, which is the second book in the Nevernight Chronicles. And gosh, I feel like I've been going on and on about God's Grave. I do have a video review up. After having read and loved Nevernight last year, I definitely thought God's Grave just escalated everything, and it was like next level awesome. Mia joins these gladiators in an arena. There's so many brutal and bloody fights, but all she wants is vengeance. You don't know what her plan is, but you know that she's gonna fight tooth and nail to get there. And then she has these daemon creatures, and there's Mr. Kindly, but then there's also Eclipse as well, and they just banter, and there's so many footnotes in here as well. And then it also bridges the gap between the two books to find out how she came to be there and to be fighting for these gladiators. And gosh, like the fantasy land in here was fantastic. I found the writing to be done really, really well. It's definitely my favorite book of the year. So these are my top 10 favorite books of 2017. There are so many fantastic reads here, and I'm super glad that it's been another awesome reading year. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!